I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
I'm so glad we're connecting and doing this right now. I'm really happy to connect with you today. I'm wanting to have conversations and connections with people that are really building the new paradigm and find out more about what they're up to uniquely, individually, and how people can connect with them. And so maybe you would be able to start, Jenny, by sharing a little bit about your work and what you feel called to be doing at this time.
Thank you so much, Marie. So my name is Jenny Jessen, and I train women into empowerment and leadership. And I studied in different parts of the world. So it started with cultural anthropology when I was younger in university. So I really wanted to know, what did the elders of the world and the wisdom keepers do? And how did they practice energy medicine? What was their ritual arts? What was their ancient language of healing? I was 21 at that time. But after a while, I think I did 5-6 semesters. It was too much theory for me. So I was really like, I need to travel the world and get to know this. Like, I need to study with the medicine women, with the priestesses, with the shamans. And so I did. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's so beautiful. And so no wonder that it sounds like you connected into an ancient wisdom very early on.
Yeah.
And you've continued to let that really guide you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's in a way paradox, and for some people on the outside, it might be sometimes confusing. But my journey started with having been a model from 13 years old. So I got discovered on the streets. But also that was my ticket in the world and made me really courageous to travel alone. But then the counterpart of it was, when I was 16, I became quite successful. But I was very much objectified and just reduced on my body. Obviously, that was very painful, but it was also my spiritual awakening, because I was so objectified and in so much pain for that. My soul was crying to, what else is there than my body, than this free dimension? So what else must there be? And I started to look within. Esoteric means looking within. So I went into the mystical arts and then tried the academic way. But then, I went deeper and deeper into that journey. Yeah.
Amazing. It sounds like the question that comes to me that feels like you were asking at that time, which so many mystics have asked themselves, which is how they deepen, which is, who am I?
Exactly. Who am I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And I feel also now, when I work with women in my retreats or teacher trainings, I can really relate to their pain of body image, and the nowadays social media and what it does to the psyche, because I had it in the extreme version, and it was my teenage years, and I was very vulnerable at that time. So I feel like I experienced the pain extremely. So for me, it's very easy nowadays to really empower them in their inner and outer beauty.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And so would you say that, I'm curious about what about this feels like your passion and what feels like your purpose, and kind of the weaving of those in what you've already shared, as well as the offerings that you're bringing to the world?
So I think my passion is for sure like creating beautiful spaces, creating spaces for women so they recognize their beauty and also shine it with the world, and also really take on that allowance that it is safe to be sensual. It is safe to be graceful, and it comes with an inner holding, with an inner how do you say it's an inner state, you know. I feel it's all merged into one, and my purpose is for sure, having worked with many indigenous leaders and healers and medicine women, empowering them as well, while also learning their ancient energy medicine and bringing it to the everyday nowadays women or girls, you know, younger generations as well.
Beautiful.
I think it's all within one. But what I really feel is, in the ancient times, there were women were, you know, really that were in leadership. They were pioneers, and not because it was against being towards men. It was more like a natural, like knowing that they have a deep intuition and connection to the earth. So they have a deep listening and knowing, if they're healthy and in tune, what is good for the tribe or what is good for the village. So that is just something natural, how I feel a priestess can be like Mother Earth voice speaking, you know. She's just so well in tune with the elements and with listening and the subtle dimension of life, as well as the elemental spirits, everything there is, that she can just listen and, you know, and speak, and through that communicate what is needed right now in the village or with families or
I'm sensing that from you now, even that feels like there's an honoring of what is, that you're really embodying what's in the world surrounding us also, and that's really coming through you. And I it sounds like that's, from my witnessing, it seems as if you've really taken that kind of skill in a way, or you've developed that as well within yourself and attune yourself to the world around. And I see that with how you've also are so generous with the various cultures of people that surround you as friends. And so I definitely am grateful to witness the unfolding of what you're sharing right now, and how you've already brought it forth in your life. This certain way of coming back to the roots of that indigenous wisdom, right? The indigenous women's wisdom.
Yeah.
And also I love how you spoke to it as this honoring of that nuance of what women bring. And it's really, it's enhancing of the human experience. And it's not to discount the masculine energy in any way. It's really just the honoring that also has needed to be occurring so that we can really come into balance and harmony.
Yeah, for
right?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so is most of your work then within, it sounds like you do a lot of group work with women. So tell me more about what's involved in this and what it is that that really lights you up about it.
So if you look at our culture, especially me coming from Europe, Germany, unfortunately, we have lost a lot of that wisdom or that sensitivity and connection to the invisible realms. But if you study like more into Celtic literature, poetry, you can find those connections, or Germanic as well. But mostly it's forgotten. So what I really felt was part of my purpose, this life, was to go into all these countries and continents to see, oh, they do it like that. They pray like that. They connect like that. They speak like this to the fire. They offer that and that and that. So I feel like there's always such an importance of having to honor ancient ways and rituals and wisdom keepers. But we're at a time in life, in the world, where we have to bridge with modern creativity, with modern creative ways, because we have lost a lot of wisdom. So especially coming from my culture. So I feel when I train priestesses, I always encourage them that there's certain way of ritual, structure, and that they really need to be very clear on that and follow those rhythm. But also there's so much space for what is needed right now in the world. So how can we serve communities right now? And also with every situation that's going on and then constantly changing and wars and, so it's really that we're in a bridging phase right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then what else we do in the trainings? So what I wanted to share is that because I trained with so many different healers and medicine women, I feel like I'm bringing the most powerful essence of all of them together, what gave me also the most transformation. And then if you look at the ancient way, everything is in a circle. So that is, a circle is really an ancient symbol of infinity, and we always meet in the circle, and everything is circular, right? So that's why I teach a lot of healing arts, community ceremonies, women's circles. It's all meeting in circle because we are all on one eyesight. So we all, no one is above or below, or there's no hierarchy. We are all equal. So, and I feel that is the future of our way of living in society, in community, that we are all equal and we meet on that level. And that is also how Mother Earth, really likes us to flow. And from that, we can create a lot. It's like an endless spiral of energy, like a point zero that we find when we meet in a circle. So most of my healing arts and how I teach to facilitate is through that kind of basic. And then there's different way of ceremonial arts. So rite of passages, if you look at different indigenous cultures, are an incredible, important foundation to have a healthy society. For example, I initiate in menarche ceremonies, so that you can find in Mexico, you can find with Native Americans, you can find it also in pagan traditions, where you create a ceremony for a girl that just got her period the first time, and you really honor that and you worship that. So what that creates is that girl or woman forever will see it as sacred. Also meaning she will see her femininity as sacred. She will cherish it also as a moment or days to pause, to go inward, to release, to reflect. Meaning she will be 2 weeks later in her ovulation, and another time of her cycle, she will blossom in her full nature. So that is the first initiation we do. I had women in my menarche ceremonies, they were like 65 and they still did it, because you can do rituals reversed. And they were like, oh, that's why I never felt feminine. That's why I never felt sexual, because it was forever shamed and they didn't know what's wrong with them, but there was one part missing.
Absolutely. I love that you're honoring the cycles and that you're even kind of weaving back in time for those women who didn't have it when they did come of age, be starting their bleeding time, right? Their moon time. And that it is that, it's weaving that healing all the way back to that moment, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
To really empower.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the thing what we want to do right now with the priestesses I train. We want to work through the generations. So that beautiful woman will share it with her daughters and her granddaughters, so we want to really plant a lot of seeds. And then another rite of passage, for example, would be when a woman gets into her menopause, we would honor her with a ceremony for initiating her as a wise woman. So what effect for her that has? She's like really taking that position on, so the wisdom actually can flow naturally, versus in our beauty-focused world right now, women in their age might be suffering of, oh my God, I look older. Oh my God, I'm not like that anymore or that anymore. So it's more like a contracted state of being. Well, if we honor her with a ceremony, all that wisdom can come out of her with pride and grace and ease.
I love this. And, I just got this for the first time in this new way of what you said is the wisdom can flow through, right? Because of the lunar cycles, the moon blood does not flow through anymore, but the wisdom gets to flow through, right? And so I love that it's still honoring the flow of something, which is this feminine, fluidity, watery world, right? Of being a woman, and that it's honoring that stage of life. Because as you're saying, I feel like that has been so prevalent in our culture.
Yeah.
And at this point in my life, I actually thought that by this time I would be evolved past that point of caring, and to really then look and go, oh my gosh, I'm not. I'm still so connected to our mainstream culture and that kind of that hypnosis in a way, right, of what's important, that I've also, judged myself and things like that. And then really, for me, I think it's so healing when younger women who are still in those, in your blossoming, have really honored that stage of life as well. And so it's been very healing for me personally, and even hearing you say this. So, right?
Yeah.
It's lovely.
And as you say that, that's why my path is quite interesting and paradox in its way, because in a way I was part of that, setting that beauty standards as a model. And I realized how unhappy it made me. That's why for me to give that as a gift now to many, many hundreds women is such a devotion, and it makes my heart so happy,
Beautiful. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the reverse process of
absolutely.
And I see the effect of when women are honored in such deep way. That is the true beauty. When it shines from within out, that is radiance,
Yes.
Because I was 10 kilos less, and some people might have called me beautiful or, in some kind of way. But now I feel beautiful inside with that way of devoting myself.
Absolutely. That's so lovely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so good.
Yeah.
And I feel like what we're talking about, again, so much of it feels like true empowerment, right? It's honoring the essential self.
Yeah.
It's really honoring that the essence of who each of us is and what's here to shine.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not always shining through this the box or the framework of what others have made it that it's supposed to be.
For sure. Right? Yeah, and it is an immense danger right now for teenagers with Instagram and TikTok. Like, this topic really needs to be spread more wider. That's why the medicine we are bringing with our trainings is really, really, really needed. That way of honoring, that way of celebrating, that way of appreciating beauty and sisterhood and weaving that together instead of competing. It's very important for the mental health for the teenagers right now. Yeah.
Yes. And as you said earlier, it's looking at each individual's uniqueness in the circle of what everyone has to bring individually that is equal to one another. It's just that it's in different phases of development, perhaps, because of their own cycles of growth, right?
Yeah.
But it's really honoring that is important as well, right? And that's what that circle, right? That's how I see that, and I really
just like nature.
Absolutely, absolutely,
yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Oh, I love how you put the things together. Yeah, I love it. And the next element we do is so it's rite of passages, ceremonial arts, where there's many way of blessing ceremonies, deep ritual arts. So what for me, if you want to really create profound change in your life, and you really want to, from the core of your being, change something in your life, this is very ancient medicine as well. You work with rituals because with a ritual, we work in all parts of our brain. So we really signalize body, mind, and spirit this has been a change. Something died, something ended, and all of our being can fully start something new.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can, for example, go to a therapist and clear your mind, body, or your emotional body as well for years. But if you add that with some ritual art, you can signalize your body, mind, and spirit, all layers of our beings. Okay, now this topic is closed and I'm releasing it all, and here we go. I'm empty and I have a lot of space for something new to come.
I love this. I love this. There was an astrologer that I appreciated in the past, and what she said about the cosmos was, since we are these physical representations of cosmic energy, that as we do the ritual or the ceremony or the physical acts of change, and we say, it's like, that's the devotion to the planet that sees us. They're like, oh yeah, they're taking this seriously. So what you said, it felt like, yeah, it's an act of closure or of celebration and newness, or right, whatever it is. It's really in that physical embodiment, because we are these humans in bodies, right?
Yeah, and that's why I felt, for me in this life, I died many times. Many aspects of me died again and again and again. You know, and I came from a very superficial world, and there was just layer and layer and layer taken off through this healing arts. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're doing this work and that you found this path for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And really continue to clarify what you're here doing. And so tell me more about what's next in what it is you're working with.
I am. So the vision that I received is that it is now time to initiate many women that are ready to walk this path. So it is about, there's a lot of women who feel drawn towards this path, you know, or also already yoga teachers that are, you know, like on a different path. But now it is really time for those who feel the calling to step into this kind of leadership. And I know it is very new for the world, for many parts of the world, this way of work, this way of priestess arts. But as I see the world in a way falling apart, or a lot of societies and the structures in societies are no longer functioning, I see that a lot will fall apart. And then what do we do? So then we need compassionate, devotional leaders that can really hold us in a circle, that can, you know, allow us to integrate whatever happened, allow us to fully feel it all, allow us to hold transformational spaces, allow us to have closure in ritual arts, allow us to bless new ways for us to come, allow us to walk on earth and bless this earth, so she will provide for us in a new kind of energy that is not just taking from her, but that is kind of plugging into her beautiful current of life force that is always there. She's always there, offering and providing. So it needs that kind of leaders that are willing to have the bravery to step into that role. That's the kind of women I'm looking to train in.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Well, I have a feeling that they're all just waiting to hear about you, if they haven't already, to be able to step in. I feel that too. I really feel that we are on the precipice of this new paradigm, and that there are pioneers that have already been doing groundwork to be able to help lead the way into a new way of being, right? And I feel like you're one of them. And so many other people are really coming forward and saying, yes, I've done this work and I'm here and I'm willing to step in and continue to do my own growth as I'm helping be a guide to others. And I'm really touched by that. It's the reason, it's what it keeps me inspired, right? And keeps me knowing that we can do this, right? We're co-creating it. It's not, right? It's not an exact known of what it's going to look like. It's a co-creation.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I see that very much. And for that, I'm very grateful for all the teachers and medicine women I had. And there's one more aspect I want to mention. So as I was studying with many medicine women and tribes, I learned so much from them, so much ancient wisdom. And so I'm so grateful. And one thing I did notice then, though, that a lot of them still had a lot of sexual wounds. So even if there was a very strong medicine woman, or she carried a lot of wisdom, that there was still a lot of pain regarding sexuality, or you could just see it in the way of how the tribe was led, or the behaviors of men and women. So that is showing me, that of course there's so much ancestry pain, first of all, but for a healer or medicine woman or priestess to fully embrace her role as a leader or healer, she needs to also embrace her sexuality and integrate it. So that is why I then on my path met my beautiful teachers of Tao Tantric arts. So that was my missing piece along all of that journey of studying, was integrating sexuality as sacred and the integration, how to fully heal our wombs, our yoni, and bring all of that life force all the way up to our hearts, to our crowns, to open our voices and connect for that heaven on earth. So that is the last component of my training as well. And I feel such an important piece for the women in the world to integrate and to have a sexuality that is honored and sacred. And through that also communicate and initiate men in that,
Beautiful. Wow. It sounds like finding Tao Tantric arts was that piece of embodiment, right? To be able to end up having that part of the empowerment, right? That their wisdom traditions were already informing you, and that then the lineage of Tantra and Taoism together with that organization ended up really supporting you to have this landing, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? The landing and honoring in your own body and being able to have even a broader vision.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If I would have continued with university, this would have been my doctor piece. But it was such an incredible field research journey.
Perfect. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, how would you feel if we look at your astrology chart a little bit to just see a bit about the moment that you came into a body, what was happening in the stars at the time?
Yeah, I would love that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Let's look. Yay. So I believe, so you are a Leo sun and a Libra rising with Libra moon. Something about this is that you have, you actually have you have 4 things in Libra. Okay, for 2 points and 2 planets, and then 3 things in Leo. And so this is a very already prominent focus, is having 3 things in Leo, 4 things in Libra, right? And so the Leo energy is that dynamic leader. Leo is the fire sign of creativity, of self-expression, right? Of taking charge and being out there in the world. When you were born, it was in the 10th house of career. And so really highlighting that career is one of the forefronts for you. It's an important piece, right? And then Venus, the planet that represents feminine energy, as well as beauty, was right next to the sun. And so there she was, drawing people to you, drawing energies to you. It really, it shows in the beauty that you exude naturally and the feminine expression that you are. right? And then Mercury, the planet which is about communication, was also in Leo. And so that's Mercury really is how we share our voice, how we communicate to the world. And what's so perfect about what you were talking about before is that it was in the house that is represented by humanity. So you are a voice for humanity, that your leadership voice is for the world.
Oh.
It's for the bigger picture. It's representing the honoring of each person in the circle.
Oh, that's so beautiful. It's written there.
I know. It is, right?
Oh, so I'm on track.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. So for me, astrology really is a tool to really support ourselves in acknowledging who we are and the roles that we're here to do and be. And it's also can give us a little bit of, if someone is doing a certain level of development or of reflection, and they don't understand a nuance or something, and they want to look a little deeper, then they can utilize astrology as a tool, right? It's also to see, okay, maybe we're feeling something intuitively that some change is coming or something like that, but we're not quite sure like when it might happen or how to prepare ourselves. And it can support laying a little bit of a foundation for that type of energy, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll speak to another piece in your chart, and then I'll kind of touch a little bit more on something you brought up that is actually where we're going as a culture, and then how it actually touches in for you. Okay.
Thank you.
And so you being a Libra rising, you're automatically going to, again, it's the sign that's connected to Venus. And so beauty, right? And so the rising sign or ascendant is how we meet the world. And so that's with balance, beauty, with really looking at relationship and harmony and the different ends of the spectrum of how to balance that and how to honor it, right? And so that's your outlook, right? That Libran outlook. The moon is there. So that's going to support you emotionally when you're in a situation that's harmonious and balanced and peaceful, as well as your Mars. So that's automatically how you're going to move, what you're going to move toward. You'll move toward another also, and having a reflection of another to help you to learn who you are, right? And relationship and intimate relationship is one of the ways that you also will continue to learn who you are, right? And then your soul path is there as well. So your soul path in Libra is really that you're coming from Aries. You're coming from being a sovereign self. So you have that. You already have developed the sovereign self, and you're moving toward being in balanced partnership. And so it may be a little bit of unfamiliar territory sometimes in this life. Because you've been a sovereign self so much on your own.
That's right. I feel that. Yeah.
Yes. And that was in, like you're coming from this Aries in the 8th house. The 8th house was the house of like magic and the esoteric arts, right? So you're coming from already being that and being able to embody that and balance it then with a partner in the physical world, in physical form, in a physical body, right? And so that's your soul path, is actually partnering with someone to be able to be with them in the physical world and be able to reflect energy to one another.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so lovely. It feels like it ties in with so much of what you spoke to. And then also how you mentioned that you also want to be working with men more, right?
Yeah,
so that's perfect. And so something that you touched on about the world is really changing a lot right now, right?
Yeah.
Pluto, that makes a really slow cycle through the zodiac, a 246-year cycle, just completed in Capricorn. Pluto is about transformation. Capricorn is the sign that represents our structure, our foundation, the agreements that we make as a society. Pluto just going through that basically has been wanting to pull back the curtain and really expose what's been going on about structures that actually don't work. And so it's really looking at really allowing the old system to crumble, allowing the old system to fall away, that it's an illusion, that we actually, Pluto in Aquarius, are now here to build a world based on community, on collaboration, on connection with those other humans as well as the planet, right? Like we're really working in tandem with one another, and we're really honoring the roles of everyone.
Beautiful.
Yes, to create this new world, right? To co-create this new world.
Yeah, for sure.
So because you have this Leo energy, you're actually here to do that out in the world. And when Pluto transits, it's going to transit through your house of leadership. And so it's saying, really calling that part of you that is the balanced leader and the one to honor the roles of all those in the circle and to help initiate those to step into their own power. And that really is this life that you've already been living and had the intuition to continue to move toward, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so this is what I'm seeing so far.
Wow. It's like absolutely matching what I've been saying and you've been saying.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very visionary. So I feel like now is the time to really initiate those women. And as I said, it's for generations to come, and they also, of course, need to practice and train, so, but now is really the time to start that beautiful co-creation of heaven on earth, really, right?
You got
that's
it.
What we want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so grateful that you're stepping in and doing this and taking the lead to empower other women and really with your generosity and your heart, right?
Oh, thank you.
Really, I really feel that, and I feel your integrity in stepping forward on the path that you've agreed to in this life, right?
Oh, thank you so much, Marie.
Oh gosh, Jenny, what a treat to have you here to have this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'd love to have you on the show again.
Yeah, me too.
I can't wait. That'll be fun.
Join my training.
Yes, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I would love to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you so much, Marie.
Thank you, Jenny.